G'day, ladies and gentlemen. Pleasure to be with you, and so great to see so many familiar faces, and a special welcome to the Pilbara Minerals shareholders that are here today. I really appreciate the opportunity to present. Thank you, Nick, Paul, for the opportunity to participate again this year. It is one of the great forums and a great opportunity to engage with the long-standing retail shareholder set that's been an important part of Pilbara's continued growth. And I'd like to think that the story that I share with you this morning is some affirmation of that faith. The extent to which the company has worked incredibly hard to continue to deliver on the promise that our Pilbara lithium tantalum project represents. So this morning I'm going to share with you the background to the project, a bit of insight into the way we see lithium markets and key motivators in lithium raw material markets, not that well understood, and I'd like to think that we can provide some special insight as a result of our sort of deep engagement in the industry, especially China and especially South Korea. And then also where we're at with Pilbara, where we've got to, near-term production and production growth. So we're very, very active, right on the cusp now of production at the Pilbara project. A big lithium and tantalum raw material development project being developed in the Pilbara of Western Australia. Now the Pilbara is easily one of the world's best locations to be building a mine. Steeped in amazing history because of all the incredible iron ore developments over the years and other resources. Amazing infrastructure base to draw from, and at Pilbara itself, incredible scale. Just this morning we've announced another resource update at Pilbara, heaps more tonnes, higher grade, and basically the story is, as you would expect, continued growth in the Pilbara resource, and we would say reserve over time as you keep drilling. It's massive, now up to over 215 million tonnes. Fantastic result from the team. So the development well and truly underway. I'll come back to where we're at Pilbara, near-term production and cash flow just around the corner. We've taken a really disciplined approach to the development of the mine and invested heavily to build a plant that is fit for purpose for the lithium recovery. The full investment has gone in from day one to maximise the value in the resource and the reserve, and to maximise the quality in the grade of the concentrates that we produce. And that really is leveraging the quality in the resource. It's a very clean spodumene that recovers incredibly well to both a battery grade concentrate, minimum 6% lithia, but also to the very high grade, technical grade spodumene concentrates. And really, at scale, there's only one other mine globally that's been able to achieve that, being the long-standing Greenbushes mine. But here we are at Pilbara with the capacity to also produce a technical grade product, over 7% lithia. So, you know, I think that goes a long way to defining the quality in the resource that we're developing. We've been working with some fantastic partners who have absolutely delivered on our behalf. Amazing construction effort from RCR and their subcontractors, Minovo and Primero. Great mining team in Macca, fantastic crushing services with Crushing Services International Mineral Resources. So a great setup, a plant that's being built to last and very, very high quality in its construction. We've attracted the premier partners in the lithium world to our project, and I don't say that lightly. The lithium raw materials world and battery raw materials generally is very, very interdependent through the supply chain. And as a result, those in the know, the big ticket players in the battery industry and battery raw materials, they're scouring the globe, looking for the right resource to either establish offtake and or make investments for the purpose of the growth in their companies. And they've chosen Pilbara Minerals. The world is their oyster. but we've attracted the core of the old lithium industry in China, those that are deeply integrated in the battery industry in the form of General Lithium and Ganfeng. Ganfeng especially being China's largest diversified lithium raw materials player. And they've chosen Pilbara Minerals. It doesn't happen by accident. The reason they've chosen our project is because of the quality in the resource, the location where it's being mined, and the scale, the ability to establish a big offtake position. And then in the last 12 months, we've also built out a relationship with Great Wall Motor Company. Very, very innovative, entrepreneurial company. Deeply into the hybridisation and electrification of their vehicle offerings in China. And you need to be careful not to think of the Chinese car as being a cheap alternative. Actually, the product that they are turning out now is unbelievable. When we visit the Great Wall factory in China, they take us out for a test spin around their equivalent of the Nuremberg Ring, and they are turning out a new model, you know, every six or 9 months, and they are incredibly high quality cars. You would sit in the car and not know you're in a Lexus. The stitched leather, full electronics package, comfortable ride, nice paint job, decent sounding doors, all that sort of stuff. And as a result, I think you need to sort of dismiss the view that the Chinese car industry is behind. They are not behind. And they are certainly not behind in the electrification of their vehicle offering. In fact, I would go as far as saying that China is absolutely dominating that space. And as a result, there's a good chance that within 10 years, we're all driving an imported Chinese car and probably loving it. That would be my guess. And then in the last 6 months, a relationship with POSCO, massive, diversified player in Korea, very, very heavy into the battery materials world. In fact, also the EV world via specialist steels and also charging infrastructure. And again, they've chosen to work with Pilbara Minerals. All those players, it doesn't happen by accident. It's there for a reason, and it's because it's such a high quality project. So we're lucky to have them on board and very, very happy to continue to grow with them. So in the lithium market, lithium-ion batteries, you're all vaguely familiar, I'm sure, with the story, the battery technology that's like a giant leap in terms of energy density and weight. And as a result, the world has now placed its bets and started investing billions of dollars in expanding the lithium-ion battery supply chain. And again, there are those that worry about the new battery technology that's just around the corner. Well, I can assure you they're not just around the corner. Battery technology takes decades to develop, and then you have to establish critical mass and scale so that they become the cost-competitive solution. And that's exactly what's happened with lithium-ion batteries. So we easily now have a couple of decades worth of supporting growth for the lithium-ion battery. The technology story is more nuanced. It's actually the focus and the R&D on the lithium-ion battery platform itself and improving the anodes and improving the cathodes to further enhance the energy density in lithium-ion battery. That's basically where the industry is headed. And as a result, a lot more lithium raw material comes out of the ground. And that's where China and I would argue South Korea are very, very much at the forefront. China was the first to twig to the value in the hard rock lithium raw material supply base. They have the leading technology and they've hoovered up a huge supply base now to continue to expand their lithium-ion supply chain with more lithium raw material supply. And there is massive growth going on there. Apologies if I sound like a broken record, but everybody is underestimating how quickly they are moving. In 2016, China was already the world's largest lithium raw material demand base, but it grew 50% in 2017. 50% growth. It's absolutely extraordinary. And it's still happening, because we still get people knocking on the door every other day saying, you know, can we secure more raw material supply? We've created a chemical plant. We're using this crappy lepidolite or whatever they can get their hands on, pedalite, and we need the spodumene. Can you supply the spodumene? But look, I'm sorry, come back and talk to us in a couple of years' time. We're sold out. So that's China. The same thing is happening in South Korea, and it's being underestimated. A couple of anecdotes that I guess sort of reinforce this paradigm. You know, why are we missing? You know, why are we surprised as lithium raw material demand continues to grow? Well, a couple of hard facts I think go some way to explaining that. When we did the deal with POSCO, they've bought the equivalent of 30,000 LCEs, lithium carbonate equivalent tonnes, from Pilbara. They wanted 100,000. So the first question is, well, where's the other 70,000 going to come from? And maybe we can help, but I'm sure others can as well. But the real point is, nobody had the first 30,000 written into their models for global lithium raw material demand. But I'm telling you that the 30,000 is not the right number either. It's actually 100,000, because that's what they want by 2024. And then in a similar vein, Ganfeng. Ganfeng's been going around establishing offtake agreements, a big chunk with us. They'll take just over 300,000 spodumene concentrate tonnes. But in their recent IPO, they're about to list in Hong Kong. It'll happen over the course of about the next 3 or 4 weeks. They've written that they are going to consume about 90,000 LCE equivalent tonnes by the end of 2019. And I can assure you, there is no analyst globally that would have had that number plugged in their model. And yet they've put it to print, and they're raising money on the back of it. So that this world is moving incredibly quickly. And again, just some further sort of evidence to backfill that story. Here we are with Roskill, one of the sort of preeminent independent forecasters globally. Between 2016 and 2017, actually I'm really hanging out for the 2018 number, it's due imminently, they grew the lithium raw material demand base by a minimum of 3 times. In fact, for the high case, it was closer to 4 times. In the space of 1 year. Now you've got to ask yourself, why does that happen? Well, you know, there is a couple of reasons as to why this phenomenon is unfolding. Firstly, it's very difficult to get transparency through to information from China. Now we're in a bit of a unique position. We get that exposure because they want the product that we have. That's one part of it. Another part of it is the speed with which the application of the technology is growing in volume terms as a function of unit demand, i.e. cars, and more recently buses, but also the scale in that demand. So in the picture that we show there, we talk about the unit volume of lithium carbonate equivalent tonnes per device or per application. And you can see that over time it's gone from a measurement of grams in the likes of your phone, your laptop, your notepad, that type of thing, 2 kilos in the form of bikes and motorbikes, and then more recently cars and then buses, but now to tonnes. Now we've used the example of the Horndale battery in South Australia, and then more recently the Cochin battery, which has gone into Newman in the Pilbara of Western Australia. And I want to flesh out those stories just a fraction more because they are really important. At Horndale, the lithium carbonate equivalent consumption is now tonnes. In fact, it was 90 tonnes. At the Cochin battery in Newman, it's about 20 or 30 tonnes per application. Now, why does that happen? Now, why are these batteries going in? The batteries are going in because it is now an economic solution and a rational application of successful technology to build the battery as an alternative to either, in the case of Newman, burning gas in spinning reserve. So Alinta, rational organisation, of course, has done the numbers and said it is now cheaper to install a battery, which consumes 20 or 30 tonnes of lithium carbonate equivalent, than it is to have a gas turbine spinning. they'll use the battery to draw down the peak power load whilst they restart the gas unit. Now, if that's happening in the Pilbara of Western Australia, I can tell you, one of the more expensive places to be building anything, if that's happening in the Pilbara of Western Australia, of course it's going to happen elsewhere around Australia and around the world. Those batteries will go in. Now, the last point I want to make about this particular issue is, if that's the case, what about all these other battery technologies? Why aren't they being used? The reason that lithium-ion batteries are being used is because they are proven and they are becoming much cheaper year on year. So if you have a new competing alternative technology, that's what you've got to beat. You've got to beat something that's getting 20% lower in cost every year. All right, I'm sorry, Nick, I've dragged that on. So at Pilbara, its action stations, the DSO program is well underway. In fact, we're already making cash flow from that operation. First sales during the course of this month, we'll get paid early next month. And we're now very, very close to commissioning at the Pilbara concentrator. It's an amazing project, a quality build, and one that's built to last and is expandable. The 5 million tonne per annum case is very much at the front of our minds. We're already making some pre-commitments to that project with some long lead items, and the final investment decision will be made in approximately July this year. Very much looking forward to continuing to demonstrate the potential in the Pilbara resource. So what do you get with Pilbara Minerals? You get near-term production cash flow while there is an incredible pricing dynamic for both the run-of-mine ore material and the very near-term spodumene concentrate product. We'll be shipping from August. It's a massive scale mine and will inevitably continue to grow. We have fantastic partners, the premier partners involved in our new mine development and expanded mine development, and they are the cream of the crop. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be in the booth for the next couple of days.